Welcome to Well Body. I'm Renee, your host, and this is the podcast for everything your body needs as a woman to become healthier and fitter effortlessly. Here, we're all about feeling energized, beautiful, strong, and going from zero to thriving. Let's ditch the Fitspo diet culture once and for all and start living your best life with methods that actually make real lasting changes. It's time to embrace the journey to a well body holistically. Let's dive in together.
Welcome back to the Well Body Podcast. I am your host, Renee, and today we're diving into a topic that many women find overwhelming and sometimes even frightening. You may have not even heard about this before, but it is AMH levels and what they really mean for reproductive health. If you're in your mid-30s and 40s and have been told that you have low AMH, you may have felt a wave of panic. But here's the truth. AMH is not a measure of fertility doom. Today, I want to shift the conversation from fear to empowerment to give you the knowledge and strategies to support your reproductive health holistically. Let's dive into it. First, let's break down this AMH, or Anti-Müllerian Hormone. It is a marker of your ovarian reserve, meaning it tells us how many eggs you have left, not the quality of those eggs. Egg quality, not quantity, is what truly matters for conception and long-term hormonal health. Low AMH doesn't mean you cannot conceive. It simply means that your egg reserve is lower than before. And this is a natural part of aging, but it doesn't mean that you're out of options. At Well Body and Beyond the Body, my philosophy is all about working with your biology, not against it. So instead of seeing AMH as a limiting factor, let's look at ways to support egg quality, hormone balance, and overall well-being. Because sometimes when we are told things by a doctor, we kind of fear the worst. And the medical system has brilliant ways of helping people with certain things, but also we can't just rely on one way of doing something. You know, we can't just take a pill or take a supplement and hope for the best. We actually need to take some action around our egg quality, our hormonal balance, our overall health, our overall well-being. Now, we can do that through balanced nutrition. We can do that through implementing strength training. We can do that through lowering our stress levels. You know, there are so many ways that we can do that with the things around us that are in our hands. And these things can also be massively enhanced with supplementation. But I do recommend that, you know, obviously if you're working with your doctor around these levels and it's to your concern, make sure you still keep checking in with your GP. But in the meantime, make sure you're also focusing on nutrition, exercise, and ways to limit stress out of your life. Okay, it's really important that we're looking at things holistically. So let's touch on nutrition for ovarian health. The food that we eat plays a major role in supporting hormone production and reproductive health. And here's what we can focus on. Healthy fats, avocados, nuts, seeds, and omega-rich fish help to regulate hormones. Protein, your eggs, lean meats, and some plant-based proteins support egg quality and repair. There was an old wives' tale, it's a medieval tale actually, when a woman wanted to conceive, she was given raw eggs to support her egg health. Now, if you think about that, you know, where we get all these ideologies from that we follow today, you know, if we circle back to those medieval times, sometimes, yeah, maybe excessive drinking 12 raw eggs a day, but they kind of have a point in regards to getting in some good fats and protein, right? So protein is a massive one. Okay, you want to make sure you're getting enough. Antioxidants, organic berries, dark leafy greens, and lots of different colorful veggies that'll help to reduce oxidative stress on the eggs. And also blood sugar balance. This is so important for women in general, but important for this particular topic today. And that is eating whole foods and reducing processed sugars, because that is going to help improve your insulin sensitivity, which is crucial for reproductive function. Okay. Blood sugar balance is also really important when it comes to eating treats. So if you've had lunch, and you've had a 3-hour window of not eating anything, and the first thing you go and eat is something like a chocolate or a sugar donut, you're probably going to find yourself having this massive high and then a massive crash, which leads you to then crave more sugar, feel fatigued, and then you start to feel like crap. So in order to balance that out, in order so that we can, still remain balanced with the foods that we eat, we don't want to restrict ourselves from the things we love, but we also want to make sure we are eating wholesome foods as well as reducing as much sugar as we can. But when we do eat a sugary treat, we pair it with some form of fiber, fats, and protein. So for example, if you're going to eat some chocolate, pair it with some berries and Greek yogurt, and it's going to be absorbed better in the body versus just eating a whole lot of chocolate on an empty stomach. It's going to help with the cravings massively. So that's just a little tip. And also in terms of blood sugar balance, we want to make sure our meals are balanced with protein, fats, carbohydrates, fiber, making sure we're having a balanced breakfast, starting our day with at least 35 to 45 grams of protein with our meal. And then having a little break until we get to lunch and having a nice big lunch with protein, fats, and carbohydrates again. And if we need a little afternoon pick-me-up, we're having a balanced snack, again with protein, fats, and carbohydrates. And then dinner. Okay? So when it comes to your ovarian health, it's so important that we are being mindful of what we put into our bodies so that we are nourishing our body. The next thing that we can focus on for hormonal balance is strength training. Now, I'm a huge advocate for strength training. If you haven't already heard me talk about it before or read any of my blogs, you'll know that strength training is one of my absolute number one must-dos for better overall health, because it is not just for fitness and it's not just for how you look in a bikini, but it's for your hormone health. Strength training helps improve metabolism and insulin sensitivity, which directly impacts fertility. It also is going to help to reduce inflammation that can affect ovarian function, and also increase your testosterone, which converts to estrogen and plays a role in reproductive health. And this is why I incorporate strength training into my programs, into my own life. It's not just about looking strong, it's about feeling strong hormonally, mentally, and physically. Building lean body mass is what you're going to achieve from strength training. And it's that building lean body mass that is going to give you all those incredible benefits: improving metabolism, insulin sensitivity, reducing inflammation, and the increase of testosterone, which converts to estrogen. Those things are key. So nutrition, strength training, top 2 things that you can start doing to support your overall fertility health. Then we move down to stress management to support your hormones. And this is a massive one. And a lot of women carry around a lot of stress. And I'm not talking, it doesn't always have to be stress just because everything in your everyday life is super stressful. But it could be, trauma that you carry, things from your past that you haven't worked with a psychologist to work through, or some kind of a well-being coach to work through. And you're holding on to that stored trauma, which is causing stress in your body. Or, the constant fear and anxiety around everyday living or what people think of you. All of these little things create stress. And when we strength train and we eat well, we're actually helping our body to build resilience, which then helps us to overcome those things as well. It's so important that if you're suffering on the inside, that you're working through it. And don't feel as though you have to work through it alone either. Talk to people in your community, work with a coach, work with a professional, but don't ever feel as though you have to manage these things on the inside on your own. Okay? Because it's going to cause stress. Chronic stress wreaks havoc on your hormonal balance. Elevated cortisol can suppress reproductive function and impact ovarian health. So managing stress through breathwork and meditation, which is going to help to regulate the nervous system and balance the cortisol. If you're not someone who is quote unquote good at meditation, and just like strength training, meditation is a practice that takes time. It takes time for you to be able to drop into your body and focus on your breath without getting in your head. It's very normal to feel that way. Okay, so regulate your nervous system and balance your cortisol through breathwork and meditation. But if you're not quite there yet, take yourself out in nature. Get out in your garden. Do other things that are going to help you to regulate the nervous system without you overly thinking about, oh my God, I've got to do this meditation to balance my cortisol and regulate my nervous system right now, but I'm freaking out because I'm in my head and I can't meditate, I can't drop in and I can't relax. Go out in nature. Go buy some water. Not buy water, but go and sit by some water like the ocean or a lake. those things work just as well. And then sleep. Oh my gosh, this is massive. If you're not getting enough sleep, you're going to suffer, and it's going to come up, it's going to catch up with you later. Trust me, been there. Definitely got the medal for that one. Okay, 8 hours sleep is essential, bare minimum. It's essential for hormone production and recovery. Most women actually need 9 to 10 hours sleep, especially when they're in their luteal phase and menstruation. You actually need more sleep around that time. So if you're getting 5-6 hours sleeps, and I know sometimes it's not always easy when you've got young kids, so totally understand if you're struggling a little bit there. However, if you're finding yourself kind of with no excuse not to get enough sleep, you need to prioritize it. Sitting up late watching movies and programs is not going to serve your health in the long run. So I really, really encourage you to prioritize your sleep and build a nighttime routine to help you get into a good sleep routine and build good sleep habits. It is essential for your overall health to get adequate sleep. There's also adaptogens that you can take as well to support stress, and a really amazing herb that is also getting a lot of traction at the moment is ashwagandha. And this is a great adaptogen herb which can help the body adapt to stress. All right, now there are some supplements for egg and ovarian health that you can look at adding into your routine. Now, as always, remember that supplements are a supplement to your healthy lifestyle that you are trying to embark on. It is not going to cure everything. If you're eating unhealthy food, not getting enough sleep, and not exercising, but taking all the supplements, you're probably not going to see the best results. It's so important that you are supplementing your diet, your exercise routine, your stress management, and your sleep with added supplementation. Okay? So these are some that you can take, and like any supplement, if you are on medications or anything like that, it's always important that you consult with your doctor before taking anything, or your chosen health professional before taking anything. Don't use this list as like I must go and take these things now because someone on a podcast told me to. Remember, I am not a GP. I am just telling you how you can balance your hormones from a nutrition, fitness, and well-being perspective. So please just see this list as a guide. Always consult the health professional that you're working with to see if these align with the care that you need. Okay, moving along. CoQ10, which enhances air quality by supporting the mitochondrial function. So the mitochondria of the cell, the energy producer of the cell, okay, the cell in your body. Vitamin D, crucial for hormone production. We obviously get vitamin D from the sun outside, but we don't always see it. And a lot of us spend too much time inside. So vitamin D supplements can be a great additive to your routine. Omega-3s, which are great for reducing inflammation. Then you have magnesium and B vitamins, which are going to help regulate stress and hormones and help with recovery. And then you've got NAC, which supports ovarian function. So these are just some supplement ideas, okay? I'm not telling you have to go and take these, but these are recommendations to assist your diet, exercise, and lifestyle changes to help you get on track with healthier hormones and a well-balanced body. Okay, so I really just want to talk to you about my philosophy about taking back control over your body and your biology. The Beyond the Body philosophy, which is my coaching program, and at Beyond the Body, we don't let the numbers define us. We don't. Instead of focusing on something like, in this case scenario, in this podcast, your AMH is a limitation, I really want you to switch that to something that is going to empower you to take control of your reproductive health. Yes, naturally, fertility declines with age, but that doesn't mean we can't optimize our health, balance our hormones, and improve egg quality. By incorporating nutrient-dense foods, strength training, stress management, and targeted supplements, you can give your body the best chance at thriving. My goal is for you to walk away today feeling empowered, informed, and confident in your ability to support your reproductive health naturally. We can do so much through food, exercise, and just lifestyle changes. If your job is stressing you out and you don't like it, I really need you to think about changing that job and doing something about it, or chatting to your partner about other things that you could possibly do. Because if you're struggling with all the workload and it's really affecting your stress levels, then I think you need to relook at the way you do your life, because your health and how you feel day to day is way more important than a paycheck. Yes, money amplifies who we are and it is important, but your health needs to be your priority. So if you can find ways to change your environment at work, to change the way things run at home so you're feeling a little bit less stressed, if you're enhancing yourself through understanding your natural rhythms and your biology and ensuring you're getting adequate nutrition, sleep and exercise, and making sure you're honoring your needs through each phase of your cycle so that you're not adding more stress to your load, you're going to feel so much better. Now, it's easier said than done, I know. But it all goes back to your purpose and what your why is. If starting a family is something that is incredibly important to you, and your why for showing up for yourself with your nutrition, with your movement, with your overall well-being is because you want to start a family, then I 100% recommend that you take the time to make those changes. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight, but you can start by just taking one step today. And that one step might be, I'm going to try and go to bed early tonight. Or it might be, I am going to have breakfast tomorrow. I'm not afraid to eat breakfast because I know that it's going to actually support my body and my hormones and it's going to nourish me. So let's think about everything that has been said today. If you have been in your doctor's office and you've been told your hormone levels are low, and there's a chance that you probably won't conceive or that your chances are slim, don't see that as a reason to give up. See that as a reason to take your health into your own hands and make sure you start implementing the things that I mentioned in today's podcast. Do not disregard your health professional though, okay? I'm not saying that that's what I want you to do, but I also want you to think about these lifestyle changes that you can make to enhance what your other health professionals are helping you through. Okay? Well, I hope this episode has reassured you that your AMH is just one piece of the puzzle and there is so much more you can do to work with your body and not against it. I want to tell you a quick story before I completely jump off this podcast episode recording, and that was a client that I worked with a few years ago. So we were working together on nutrition and mindset. There were a lot of tears in some of our coaching calls, and that's all part of the journey. I have a lot of tears in a lot of my coaching calls because we're working through some emotional mindset stuff, and that stuff's hard. But one of the amazing things that happened to this particular person, she already had 3 kids, and fertility was something that was quite hard for her. And they had to have a little bit of help for the first 3. But during her journey with me, she came to a coaching call and said, well, I've got a surprise for you. And I was like, oh, what's that? She's like, I'm pregnant. And I was like, whoa, wow, what? She's like, I'm so shocked. I cannot believe this has happened. It wasn't easy the first time round, times 3. And now I'm pregnant. And it was such a surprise. And it was just a reminder as to how important nutrition, exercise, sleep, and stress management is, because it literally can change your life. You enhance your overall well-being, and then the things that your body is physiologically able and capable to do happens with ease. But we have to be willing to do the work to get there. We have to learn to surrender and let go and trust the process. We have to be willing to know that these things take time, and it's not about rushing through, and it's not about seeing results yesterday and giving up too soon because you didn't see them quick enough. It's about hanging in there, being patient, staying consistent, and knowing that every little change that you make is a step in the right direction for you and your overall health and well-being, and that's huge. I hope you found this episode valuable. If you did, please share it with a friend or share it with someone else who needs to hear this message, who needs some encouragement. And I'd also love to hear your thoughts. So flick me a DM on Instagram if you've listened to this episode. And if you need anything, always feel free to reach out to me. My contact details are in the show notes. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please, if you can, give me a 5-star review. I'm not asking for much, but I am asking for a 5-star review because it really helps a little podcast like mine start to get a little name out there. And these things take time. And just like your health and fitness, it's about patience and trusting the process. So as I post these weekly podcasts, and if you do listen to them and you do find them helpful, please do let me know. I really, really appreciate it. Leave me a little comment. I'd love to hear from you. Anyway, have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, morning, whenever it is that you're listening to this podcast. Remember, you're amazing, and I look forward to having you in the next show.